Welcome to Ink and Flame. I'm your host, Tina Kutras, and today we're sitting down with Hazel Wilkes to talk about a Requiem for Fallen Stars. Hi, Hazel. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm great, too. Where are you coming to us from tonight?
Dallas, Texas.
Nice. Nice and warm up there. I'm down there, I guess.
So hot. It is so hot right now and humid and sticky and miserable. And yes, it is.
You just said all of my favorite things and then said it was miserable. Like hot, humid, sunny. Yes.
Where are you based out of?
We're in Nova Scotia, Canada. So it's nice.
Beautiful.
And we had a beautiful hot spell just a few days ago.
Mm.
But I don't think I have a threshold. I love the heat. I really do.
You should come to Texas then because you would love it here. You would thrive.
I would love to. So we're going to chat with A Requiem for Fallen Stars. I think that is an incredible name, and I'm excited to chat.
I am so excited to talk about it. So excited.
Awesome. You described yourself as a lifelong lover of stories. Can you share a moment or memory that first sparked your passion for storytelling?
Absolutely. Is specifically, I can literally pinpoint it to when I realized like, oh, I'm in love with this. I've always loved reading, but like I'm in love. It was when I was reading John Green, actually. And it was his book, Looking for Alaska. And it was the way he was able to string his sentences together and just like evoke emotion from me and paint this picture. Like it was his writing specifically. And when I was reading it, that I was like, no, wait, like this is what I want to do. I love this. Like, oh my God, like this is amazing. Like I actually, sorry, mom, but she was taking a bath and I ran into the room in high school and I was like, Mom, you have to read this sentence. Mind you, I'm the only person in my family that loves books. And I was like, Mom, you have to read this sentence. She was like, what? And I just read this sentence from John Green's book to her. And she's like, that's great, sweetie. Now, can I bathe? I was like, okay, yeah, bye. But yeah, that book was it for me. That's when I was like, yeah, it clicked. I was like, this is it.
That's awesome. My daughter actually loved that book and she made me watch, they made a movie out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And she made me watch the movie because at the time, life, I wasn't reading. But she did. She read that book and really, really loved it. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Has your background and life in Texas influenced your writing and the worlds that you've created?
So I was born and raised in Illinois. And so Texas itself, I don't feel like has influenced my writing as much as Illinois did. But I really like the difference in the people between Texas and Illinois because there just is a very different vibe and sort of aesthetic that the people have in Texas versus the people in Illinois. And though I don't feel like it's helped like with world building for fantasy by any means, it definitely helps me create better characters that are more diverse in their walks of life because Illinois was very different. I was a small town, born and raised, and now I'm in Dallas, night and day. So that helps me create better characters, I think, for sure.
That's cool. Very cool.
The personalities are so different across the states.
And it's very interesting. I mean, not straight across the board, but Canadian's a Canadian,
I gotta do know you. But you guys are all so nice. I swear to you, if any Canadians are listening to this, you guys are the nicest people and I want to be you.
I served in the military and during my time in the military. Thank you. During my time in the military, like, everybody. And I can say from my perspective, like everybody that I knew in the military, there weren't very many differing cultures. I mean, Quebec has some characteristics amongst their culture, but even like they're so welcoming and warm straight across Canada. So it's fun. But it's interesting that you mentioned so much diversity between just those two states. And I've only ever been to a couple places in the States. So I don't really have a lot of experience with it except for the friends that I've made on Instagram.
Yeah, that's where Instagram's great though, because you get that access to people from different walks of life if you don't have the access to actually accessing the people, you know what I mean? That's where Instagram really thrives. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you could give yourself any single piece of advice, your younger self, about pursuing your creative career, what would it be?
So like I referenced with John Green, and it was his writing, specifically like his writing that made me fall in love. It's to focus on the story. So because I was enamored with writing, like the act of writing, I was so focused on prose, making every sentence in my mind beautiful, impactful, meaningful. And though, I mean, yes, every sentence should serve a purpose, you can't lose sight of the story, because I've found that people will deal with mediocre writing if you have a phenomenal story to tell. And I was so focused on the literal writing aspect of it that I was losing story. I needed a good story to couple with the writing. So for me, it would be to say, hey, writing's great and all. Don't lose sight of your story, for sure.
So do you have formal training on writing? Is that part of the reason why you got hung up on it? Or is it just something that clicks for you?
It clicks me. So since I was a little girl, I've always liked to write. I have that. I feel like it sounds cheesy and cliche, but I do have that. Ever since I was a little girl, I was like, I'm going to be a journalist in New York. Like, I just always knew I wanted to write. So I have birthday cards from my great grandma dating back to, I'm like 8 years old. And from 8 all the way, even now, I actually just got one 2 days ago because I'm getting married and she can't make it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And she can't make it. And she literally said, by the way, I was just going through your writing. So she always encouraged me to write and would write in these cards. By the way, I haven't received a poem from you lately. By the way, I haven't received a story from you lately. So my great grandma, who actually she's in the acknowledgments of my books, she always encouraged me to write. So I've known I just like to write, whether that be a poem, spoken word poetry, short stories, whatever. I just always knew I loved writing, the act of writing. And then, yeah, like I said, John Green, it made it click. But because I was just always so enamored with writing, when I decided I wanted to be an author, like through and through, I just didn't focus enough on the story element of it, which is huge. I'm sure that actually sounds backwards to a lot of people, but for me, it was about the writing, not the story, when you need the story.
I'm sure you've got it in spades, though. So let's chat about it. So Requiem for Fallen Stars has a poetic and evocative title. What does it mean to you and how does it fit into the story?
So much. I remember when I came up with the title, I was squealing and we call each other the Down Girls. They're my Bookish besties. And I told them the title and we were all like, because in the story, there is my main male character's mom. He gives this little reference. She has this theory that they're all descended from fallen stars. And so that's kind of the essence of people. It's like they descend from fallen stars. It's like, just think of like a belief system people have. That's just what she believes. So one, it's kind of literal because there is a point in the book where people get lost, like lost, and they do an actual requiem for their fallen stars. So it has a literal meaning in a sense, but for me, it also has a very metaphorical meaning and a very kind of like literary meaning. And that's in the sense of my main character in the book, Lyra. She has a very troubled past. She has to deal with a lot of loss, a lot of grief, but she will not remember. That's kind of her thing. She doesn't want to go there. She doesn't want to feel it. She doesn't want to remember it. And actually, one of the definitions for what requiem is to remember and to honor. And it's specifically the dead, but I love this idea of Lyra's journey. It starts here and she's kind of fallen. So whether you think she's a literal fallen star or if she's just fallen. And as she progresses, she begins to sort of herself undergo this requiem where she mourns and she grieves and she learns to love. And so it's kind of like if you take a requiem and what it is ceremonially, like literally, she goes through it personally. So it's kind of like her own requiem for her mother. That's not a spoiler. Yeah. For her mother. Yeah, I was like, is that a spoiler? I was like, no, that's not a spoiler. But yeah, so it has both a very literal meaning, but also a very sort of poetic, metaphorical meaning as well.
Awesome. So the book features themes of love, betrayal, and resilience. What drew you to explore these themes and how do they resonate with you personally?
So Lyra's resilience was something that she really found herself. I can't even say I gave it to her. Like that was her when I'm writing her and she's like, hey, listen here. Okay. So that was a big thing that she gave to me. It sounds so odd, but I personally really resonated with it as she was kind of unveiling it to me. I was like, oh, I see you. I understand you. I've got you. Like, let's do this together. So that was really, really, I loved that. But I have very specific elements that I knew I wanted for the series. And it is sort of, it's a good way to say it. The sort of fickle nature of good, of love, of bad, of hate, because they're not so far apart. They're really not. And it's a matter of whose eyes you're seeing it through. So I wanted to be very intentional, especially as I progress through the series, but I'm very intentional as I write this about not necessarily telling you specifically, hey, this is obviously the good. This is obviously the bad. This is who's right. This is who's wrong. I kind of want readers to read that. And even though there's always an objective bad, I want to make sure people understand, but I can see how we got here. That was like really important for me. So those were kind of where the themes came from. Writing the story, going into it, I knew that's what I wanted to create. If I could, fingers crossed, do it correctly, if we can, achieve our goal. And then love, obviously, I knew I wanted to write a fantasy romance. So that was a given. Betrayal hasn't really happened a lot yet. There's a little low betrayal in the first book. Can't promise you future books. But first book, there's low amounts of betrayal. And then the resilience, Lyra, she really kind of grabbed me and said, let's go, girl. We're going over here. And I was like, yes, ma'am. Whatever you say. You're in charge.
I can totally relate to that when you're writing and a character just pops up. Or like my best example is in my book, there's a character that was just meant to be a side character, and then she developed her own arc and everything kind of expanded. And then there's that aha moment when you're like, oh yeah, she's alive.
Yes. I explain it to my fiance who's not a big reader, and I tell him, I'm like, I know this makes me sound crazy, so please don't put me anywhere. Like, I swear I am sane, but they're always talking in my head. They're always with me. And I always say that like, I'm just basically like a medium, and my fingertips are just the means that they kind of get their voice out there. Like, I don't exist. I'm just the vessel. They're the ones that are taking over. So it's them, not me. And I try to explain that to him. Like, I'll be like, I hear voices in my head. And he's like, that sounds alarming. So
yeah, all the writers, I think, can probably relate to that.
Yes.
I think I saw one post of somebody waking up, like opening their eyes and going right to their keyboard and trying to make supper and going right to their keyboard. I can totally relate.
No, literally. In the shower. The shower's the weirdest one because you're just, obviously you're in there nude and you're just like sitting like
you're
here
committed,
doing, shaving, whatever you're doing. And then the voices start talking. You're like, wait, hold on, hold it. And you gotta like rush out of the shower and get it down, dripping water everywhere. Yeah.
So the quote, love is no lesser force than hate, and a scorned heart does not wither, it burns.
It burns, yes.
It's pretty powerful. So
I
think that probably is where you were going a few moments ago when we were talking about the love and the resilience portion. Do you want to expand a little bit on it?
Yes, it's exactly like what I was just saying. Love and hate, I feel like I've heard this a decent amount, so it's not like I'm the one coming up with this profound thought, but love and hate, the feelings are not that far apart. It's, even though when we think about them contextually, they're vastly different. But at the end of the day, when you get to the human element of them, that sort of obsession, that overwhelming feeling, they're not that different. They're just like one thin paper sheet away. Each are such equally powerful driving forces. And something I will say that I can't say too much about because that would be a spoiler. I did not clarify what type of love. I believe in different types of love. There are many types of love. Love is a very broad concept. There is a lot that goes into it. So I was toying with that sentence a lot, actually thinking, how do I say what I want to say without being too obvious or being too like, what is she saying? That's also a fine line to walk. But yeah, the biggest thing that means is don't just assume that hatred or love, like either force is going to naturally overpower the other. It just is all depending on the context, the eyes, the person. Who is the person? And so that's like a big element of the series as a whole that I really want to execute correctly and have plotted.
So I imagine that was one of those ideas that crept into your mind and then just drove you crazy until you could write it down and get to that part in the book when you were writing.
Yeah, I'm a big believer, and this is probably my own thing. I know this is not an everyone thing, but I am a big believer. If you have a scene that's in your head, I don't care where you are in your book personally. Well, I should say for me, I don't care where I am in my book. If a scene comes to my brain, I am opening up a new document. I am writing it all the way through. Sometimes some things will pop up and I'm like, where does this is not in the plot. What are you doing? This is not a thing. But some of my favorite moments have happened for example, in my book, all I'll say is there's a greenhouse scene. And originally in that scene, she was supposed to be alone and she's not alone in the way the scene ends up unfolding. And that was not supposed to happen that way. But the MMC, he was like talking to me. And this again makes me sound crazy, but he was like, let me go to her. Let me go to her. Let me go to her. I need to go to her. And I was like, no, you're not supposed to be there. No. And I ended up, he ended up winning. I was like, okay. Go to her. Sorry.
Fine.
I can't keep you from her. But yeah, so that's kind of a long-winded way of saying, but I am a big believer in that. If you have a scene, whether you use it or not, get it out. You're not going to remember it in the same way. And especially if it's coming to you so vividly, like there are times where I see things so vividly in my brain, get it out. I'm a big believer of that. Don't tab it. Don't be like, oh, I'm not there yet. Like write it out, make it fully realized, do it all, get it out, put it out there.
That's awesome advice.
Thank you.
What did you find was the most challenging part of writing a Requiem for Fallen Stars? And how did you overcome it?
Yeah, for me, I have a lot of layers going on in this story. A lot of moving parts subtly. Some of it's very subtle, but there were a lot of subtle plot lines going on. And part of that is because I have plotted for the series, right? And personally, as a reader, when I write, I think, okay, all I can know is what I've experienced as a reader. What do I love? What have I absolutely devoured? What makes me happy? And so one of those things is Easter eggs and very intentional moments where you can go back and reread something. And later on, after you've read like book 2 or 3 and you go back and reread something and you're like, she knew all along that you literally told us from the beginning. Like, I love that. I love that. I devour it. I eat it up in stories. When you can go back and you see an author being so intentional with things. So with that, making sure that I honored that part, that I knew I wanted to plant seeds. I wanted to plant Easter eggs. That was actually challenging because with that, I had to plot forward. This is kind of a spoiler too, but I also had to plot backward because there's a sort of prequel story that leads into a Requiem for Fallen Stars, which if you read the book, that makes total sense. But I also had to plot, where books 2 and 3 go. So that was kind of difficult because this is my first series I've ever written. This is my debut, though not the first book I've written, though those have never seen the light of day. But I have written books outside of this, thankfully. That was very helpful. So maintaining those Easter eggs, maintaining the nuances I wanted to personally keep as a writer from stories that don't technically exist yet, both past and future, that was kind of difficult. And
how did you overcome it?
A lot of plotting. And I don't mean like Brandon Sanderson level plotting, for example, if anyone's ever watched his videos, which you absolutely should if you haven't as a writer. But I'm not on that level. I'm a bit of a mixer. I do some plotting, but then I also do some pantsing. I'm very in the middle. But doing a lot of plotting where I'm like, okay, this is my idea, writing it out, telling the story on this end. And then moving forward, writing it out, telling the story on this end, and not getting frustrated and daunted when it's not working, because it's not always going to work. And there are going to be days where you are like, I suck. I give up. This is terrible. I'm trashing it. we're done. Like it's going to happen. My support system was a huge help in overcoming that, actually. As I say that out loud, my down girls I referenced earlier, I could call them my editor, who I will always sing her praises for being phenomenal, calling her and just talking out loud with someone. I'm oral. Like I need to talk to kind of get my thoughts in order. Mm-hmm. So for me, talking out loud is huge, but just having support when you feel yourself like, okay, I'm done. Like when you're nearing that edge and you're like, I'm done. This is awful. Having that support that can help you say, okay, no, you got to just keep going, keep going. So sitting with it, knowing that everyone goes through it, and then finding whatever works for a person to overcome it. Personally, mine was, my support system.
So if you could spend a day in the world of your Requiem, what would you do first?
I thought about this, and I think I would go to Bathara. I really do. So Bathara is the magical academy where Lyra is traveling to take the entrance exams into this elite academy. She's trying to become what's known as Jurfin. They're these elite magic wielding soldiers of the three kingdoms. And to be them is just a very, very big honor. So the academy itself is located in what's called the Hills of Thanica. And I don't know how I came up with this, honestly. Like my brain, like I'm just sitting here like, let's just vision. Let's just envision a world. And it's just these beautiful rolling green hills. It's waterfalls. There's so many I don't know why. I just knew I wanted waterfalls. There's so many waterfalls. Like it just sounds like such an idyllic place to be. Like it is so beautiful. So for that reason, to see the hills, to see the waterfalls, all the flowers, the really cool academy, I would want to see the academy.
That's awesome.
Plus everyone there is hot. Everyone there is gorgeous. Like it's their job. So I'd just be like, hey, hello. I would want to see everyone. Run into like a cute brooding captain. You know what I mean?
Your body language was hilarious. That was fun.
Talk so much with my hands. I am so animated.
So your world for Requiem is rich and immersive. And what was your process for creating it? Was it like literally just sitting down and visualizing it, or how did you do it?
A lot again of writing. Like I have so many, I actually have a binder in my closet of just scratch papers. I think I spent about I want to say about 4 months building the world out first. So yeah, I spent a while with it. I came up with this idea for Requiem for Fallen Stars in the fall of 2023. And then I didn't actually start writing until I want to say like January, February of 2024 is when I actually got down to the writing. So I just spent time coming up with this world, coming up with a magic system. I am personally a huge anime fan, super nerdy. I am a super nerd. So I am a huge anime fan, and I took a lot of inspiration for how animes do their magics. I think it's really cool. And they always have like kind of like, even if it's completely illogical, there is logic to it. You know what I mean? So I really like the way the past animes that I had watched had done magic systems. So I sat creating a magic system. A big thing about me, and honestly, I make it so much harder for myself than it has to be, but I feel like everything needs to be original and it needs to be fresh. So much so to where it's like a little like, okay, sit down. You can't, not everything is original, you know? But, so I kept trying to create like a bunch of original things and having to find a balance between like, okay, this is just confusing. Okay, this is grounded in this. This is really cool. Okay, let's blend these together. So it was just a lot of sitting. I write everything down, like everything. I write everything down. I write little diagrams. I draw pictures. I have a hand-drawn map somewhere that I sat down and made with colored pencils and pens. But that's it. It's just sitting, realizing this is a bad idea. Okay, let's move forward with this. And then just, if it doesn't work, not being afraid to change it because it's extra work. But that's the big thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Those moments where you go,
Yeah. Yeah. No, genuinely fun fact. A Requiem for Fallen Stars, this version that is out now is a completely revised version. I wrote the book, edited the book, did the final things. I actually queried the book too for a while. And it was a completely founded on a completely different Same, but completely different premise. And I called my editor and I was like, hey, this like very foundational, pivotal thing that was like, the whole premise of the book. She was like, yeah. I was like, I think it's got to go. And she was like, yeah, I think so too. And I was like, what did you think? She was like, I don't know. You just did all the work. This is how it worked. But yeah, so it was a lot of work to redo it all, but so worth it. The story, the characters, everything, I mean, really became actualized once I stripped that part out, and then it became its own. Yeah.
Very cool. So crafting the characters that feel authentic and multidimensional, how did you go about that?
Yeah. So this actually ties into perfectly to what I was saying. I kind of feel like in a way, I cheated in the sense of I wrote the book, fully edited it, and then was like, okay, this is the final beautiful product one time already, like all the way through. So that's, if you count one full process, I mean, that's what, 4, 5, 6 drafts. And then I changed it. And so by that point, when I got into this version of the story, I had sat with the characters. I had already kind of cried with the characters. And I'm looking back, they were absolutely one dimensional in that first version of the story. But because I wrote that version, I was really able to know and understand them going into this version. And like I said, stripping that element back, it really let everyone become themselves. So that aided the character development in this story a lot. Like writing them, being with them, sitting with their conversations for so long, one time already, really helped. And then the second thing is, this makes me sound crazy, but I just like let them talk to me. I know that makes me sound crazy, but like I genuinely let them talk to me, and I let them kind of play out conversations, even if it's not in the book. And like, even when I'm just daydreaming, like it's my characters talking, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay. And then from there, there's 2 things I do actually. I think about their personality types. So I got my degrees in psychology. So that kind of helps a little bit. So I think about their personality types, kind of, are they introverted? Are they extroverted? Are they perceiving? Are they judgment? All that good stuff. And then some people, I take attributes, personality traits, quirks, characteristics of people that I love, of people that I admire, maybe of one of my favorite characters in something. So, and I pull inspiration from so many things. And if someone shows me that they're like, hey, this is me, I'm like, great, you got it. And then just giving them those little chips, they kind of just reveal themselves to you. I mean, like you said, right. At that point, if you let them be, like they will tell you who they are if you just kind of listen. And then you're like, okay, I got you. Like I said, we're in this together. Let's do this.
That's awesome. And it's awesome to know that you have them so clearly defined that their traits are so like tangible for you that you can understand everything about them.
Yeah, very much so. It doesn't always start that way. I don't want to say that. And then people, if anyone listens and they're like, oh, my characters don't do that. It's not like every character I've ever come up with in my brain is immediately like, I am this person and I love this and here I am. It's not always like that. But with the Requiem for Fallen Stars, I don't know why. I don't know if it's this world, if it's a story, because I've been sitting with it and I just love so. But yeah, the characters in this story are very loud. They are very real. They know what they want. They've got a voice. They know how to use it. And yeah, they are very tangible to me, very much so.
Yeah. Very cool. So the book features a character called the Threadweaver. Can you share more about this or talk about it at all without any kind of spoilers?
So Threadweaver is this voice in the wind from Foreigner's Valley. He calls our main character Threadweaver. And it actually makes no sense to her whatsoever in the slightest. He's like, da-da-ba, Threadweaver. And she's like, and Gray, her best friend, kind of looks at her and goes, did he just call you Threadweaver? And she's like, yeah, he did. And they're just kind of like, what does that mean? And she's like, I have no idea. And then they just kind of go about their day. And you have to read to find out what Threadweaver means. But it is a big hint when you get down to, how do I say this without spoilers? Because it is very spoilery, but you read that towards the beginning of the book, he calls her Threadweaver, but nope, that's a spoiler.
They have to read and find out.
They're going to have to read and find out. Yeah, he calls her Threadweaver. It ends up being about the main female character. They don't know why they call her Threadweaver. It's just like a fun little hint as you realize she pieces things together. Yeah, that's all I can say. Because I think anything else, I would give spoilers. Yeah.
It's that tippy toe that you kind of have to do, right?
I know. And I get so excited and my tongue becomes so loose and I'll just start talking. And I'm like, okay, let's just whoop. Nope.
Dial it back. Rein it in.
So
if you could bring one character from the book to life, who would it be and why would you choose them?
This is such a hard question because there's so many different ones for so many different reasons. So one, I would just love to hang out with Lyra. My main female character, she just past her loss and her grief. Like she's a cool girl. She's a girl's girl too. And her best friend, Marcella, they're girls. I was very big on that. I was like, I want a girl's girl who represents women, who loves women, who wants to support women. You know, like I just think women need women. And so I wanted to write characters that embodied that notion. So both of them. But then you got a character named, is this a spoiler? No, because you don't know. You got a, no, it's fine. You've got a, you have a character named Kieran. I want to drink a beer with Kieran. I want to hang out with Kieran. He is something else. I want to go to a bar with Kieran. He would get you into trouble, but in the best way. But yeah. Oh, but then I love I think it's so hard to pick, but one of my favorite characters though also is Gray. In the book, Lyra's best friend, his name is Gray Night and Joy. And for whatever, he is just like my little baby and I love him and he is just the best ever and I love the world and my heart. The way I love him is absolutely insane. I love him. So I actually don't know. I can't pick. I can't do it. They're all my children.
So since we've left that question in such a tumultuous spot, let's chat a little bit about your writing process. What does a typical writing day look like for you?
Yes, so it depends. I do big sigh inserted here, still have a 9 to 5. So I have to work, unfortunately. And then when I'm not working, I love to come back. I actually really like writing in the evenings. Past that, weekends are huge writing days for me where I try to really like assimilate a life that I would have if I were a full-time author. I try to really like practice the routine. And so on those days specifically, I wake up. I like to make coffee always. I'm a big coffee person. I know it's terrible. I know. But I always have to get my coffee. I then end up sitting down. Depending on what I'm writing that day, I actually find music this is a fine balance, actually. I find music that fits the general feelings that I need to kind of get out in that scene. So whether it's excitement, if it's cinematic, if it's emotional, if it's anger, I try to find music that helps me kind of get into that space because, you know, music always is there when words fail. And I think if you have no words in that moment, it can evoke something from you. So I always try to kind of cater my writing to the music. I guess cater the music to what I'm writing, but to help me get where I need to be. And then I write. I just sit here, I write. I actually need to do a better job of getting up and walking away sometimes instead of staring at a screen like, what are we doing? Like, I need to do better at that, actually. But, all
right. Yeah, so y'all want to be quiet now, huh?
Yeah, right. All right. I'm here. I've sat down. I've got the coffee. Like, and now you guys, you got nothing. So, but yeah, that's the bulk of it. And I try to genuinely, my goal, no matter what, is I try to write about 2,000 words a day. I don't remember who said that or set that standard, but I just remember seeing it. It might have been Brandon. It might have been Mr. Sanderson. I don't remember anymore, but I just remember someone said, try to get about like 2,000 words a day, try to get about 2,000 words a day. And so that's my personal goal. I try to always get about 2,000 personal words.
That's mine too. That's funny.
Yay! Okay. So you get it. Do you remember who said that? He was like, try to write about 2,000 words a day. I don't either, but I think did.
So Nisha Tooley, did a post on social at one point, and when she posted, it was with her word goal and her achievement for the day and like all kinds of side information. I'm like, Nisha, how are you doing this? Like, what program are you using? Because at the time I was just using Google Docs. And she said she uses Dabble, and I fell in love with Dabble. I've been using it ever since. And like, it has like a focus so that, you know, nothing goes on your computer that you don't want there. And I loved it. I thought it was a great program. So I use it all the time.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm going to have to check that. I've never heard of Dabble. I've done Scrivener. I did actually the full of a Requiem for Fallen Stars using Scrivener, but I've never heard of Dabble.
I wonder if it's similar. Like, you can do all your world building, your character building, and all that stuff inside. So it's kind of cool. And
ooh, I'm going to check that out.
There's a program that it allows it to read to you. So I'm not a paid representative, but
But really hey, sponsor her because she's out here repping you guys. She's convinced me. That's awesome. No, I never heard of Dabble, but and Dabble, if you're listening, I'm gonna check it out because of her. So
sponsorship.
And Nisha.
Yep.
Sponsorship. Wink, wink.
So how do you balance the fantastical elements of your stories and the emotional depth that you've achieved with your characters?
A lot of help from my editor.
That's a great answer.
A lot of help from my editor. No, like I would sing from a hill in Ireland about how amazing my editor is. I don't know why Ireland and I don't know why a hill. I was just trying to emphasize the mouth.
It's a long trip. I mean, it definitely says some degree of emphasis.
Like going out into singing into the void of Ireland, like she's so good. Like that's what I was trying to relay. No, but she was really good. Something about me. I'm a very long-winded person. I talk long-winded. As if you've been listening to this interview, you've probably figured that out. I have a very roundabout way of saying things. And I've already said that I am big on the literal writing aspect of stringing sentences together, of putting things in this very like poetic way. And my editor as a reader is actually opposite. She likes short. She likes to sing. She likes to just tell me the story. I just want to know the story. I just want to know what's happening. So together we make a great combination. So she literally I thought I was done with a Requiem for Fallen Stars. Like I was like, yeah, it's done. I'm so excited. She comes back. She's like, girl, you got to cut like at least 10 more thousand words. And I was like, where? Like, I can't, where? And she's like, you got to do it. Just cut it. Come on. Let's get in there. So she literally printed it and went in there and just started Xing stuff, like more like emotional, poetic, like more flowery, if you will. And my heart is dying each and every time. But looking back, you need someone that is your counterbalance in that way. Because since I am a long-winded person, since I'm an overwriter, since I get so focused on prose, she is, and I mean, again, this is just the editor herself, her just absolute instinct for good story, good development. She's insane. Like she's so talented, but she's able to get in there and be like, this emotion right here is necessary. But now this part right here, cut it. Let's stay to the story. This right here, like she just is so good at helping me identify where certain beats are needed and where I'm allotted a bit more freedom to kind of write how I want to write. So it was a very good counterbalance. I think without her, some of my more lyrical, emotional elements may have overtaken the fantastical a little bit. And she did a really good job of being like, hey, let's strip it back. Let's put some focus over here. We got this. Let's do this. Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So how do you hope that readers will connect to the story and its characters?
There is one really big key takeaway for me in this story that I hope people, when they're reading it, I have this sort of theory that I believe that, I think everybody is in some form of pain all the time, but it's just from different traumas, if you will. And I know trauma is a very like severe word to use in that sense, but just we have different things causing the pain, whether it's very small, whether it's very big, we all have our own pain all the time. And in this book, Lyra is running from her pain. She doesn't want to feel it. She doesn't want to acknowledge it. In her mind, and this is where I really, really resonated with Lyra, In her mind, allowing herself to feel the pain that others have caused her is allowing them to win. It's virtually allowing them to have power over her. In her mind, makes her feel lesser than because this person has made her feel bad. And so in that way, if she is like, you didn't break me, you didn't win, I'm fine, I'm fine. In her mind, she's winning. She's staying on equal ground with them because important note here too is she's also a lowborn and she's in a world of nobles. And so nobles who are also just, highborn, naturally better than her. There's a quotation around the word better. She is determined to not feel less than others. However, through the help of others, through the help of when she finally starts to kind of crack open her chest, her heart, and she starts to allow herself to feel things, to kind of take them at face value, she realizes that feeling the pain that's hurt her is not letting the other people win. But if she's refusing herself the opportunity to heal and to be better and to live her full life in the best capacity that she can, that is letting other people win. So that is what I want people to take away from the book. It's in whatever way. Lyra's way is obviously very dramatic. It's very drawn out. There's a lot of heavy trauma attached to it. It's a fantasy romance. However, that to me was a very important, powerful message that I want people to take away from it, no matter how small, because so often I think we don't deal with uncomfortable things just because they're uncomfortable. And I totally understand that. No one wants to feel pain. No one wants to hurt. No, we don't want that. But at the same time, I think pain always catches up with you in one way or the other. You can't outrun it forever. And stuffing it down and it only delays the inevitable. And so I hope people read that and go, you know what? Like, this is right. Oh my gosh, this is right. Like, at some point, if I'm just going to deny this thing forever, it's not going to do me and my person any favors whatsoever. So that was the big thing I really wanted people to take away from it, is that it's okay if someone hurt you, though it's not okay. It's okay to acknowledge the hurt. It's okay to acknowledge the pain. You're not lesser than because of it. But if you don't let yourself heal because of them, you did let them win. So
that's pretty powerful.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you.
So are there any themes or ideas that you're excited to explore in future projects?
Yes, so many. Well, I've talked about it a lot, so I will try, even though I'm long-winded, to be succinct here. But the big thing that I'm really, really excited to explore, especially as this series continues, and I just, fingers crossed, author, that I do it justice, is that theme of good and evil that I was talking about. And at its core, that's what it's about, is good and evil. But it's about this like subjective nature of what good and evil is. And even though there is an objective, like you can objectively look at something and go, that's wrong. Like, genocide, that's wrong. But if we were able to look at how something was broken, perhaps maybe then we could learn how to better fix it. And that's kind of the theme, is that there are no characters in my story that are essentially inherently evil. I have a backstory for every single person, and it is a sort of explanation of how they were made that way. So that's my big thing, is I want to, through this series, tell this story of not only Lyra, her friends, and that journey, but also just that nature of how this is how we got here. And this is what happens when humanity sucks. Basically, this is what happens when humanity doesn't do better. And so that's kind of the general theme for this series that I really want to explore.
So what type of timeline are you hoping for the sequel to book 1? I know you mentioned a prequel as well. Which one are you currently working on?
Series. I actually haven't technically told anyone there's a prequel yet, but news is out. No, it's okay. They have something to look forward to. Though I have no dates for the prequel. Listen, people, I have no dates for the prequel. Just know that there is one, though. But there's a whole story that I've got to tell there. But yes, so I have been thinking about if I can give a specific month yet, because I really want to make sure I'm very accurate on that. I don't have a specific month, though I do believe it'll be early 2026 where book 2 will come out. And then I guess I can also say there is actually a novella that'll come out before book 2, that'll come out about a month and a half before book 2 comes out. So whatever month early 2026, the second book comes out. You can expect a novella to come out as well. And I won't say what it's about yet since I haven't made any announcements, but a novella will also come out about a month and a half before book 2 comes out.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm really excited.
That is so exciting. So what's the best way for readers to connect with you and stay updated on your work?
Yeah. So I would definitely say Instagram's a big one. I do have a TikTok, but I do not recommend using that for information because I'm not a TikToker and I'm bad at TikTok. So don't try to find me there.
Guilty.
Are you good at TikTok?
Oh, no.
Oh, you're bad at TikTok. Okay, great.
I'm not good at any of it.
TikTok, I just got it. And let me tell you, it's like a different world over there. I'm like, I don't know if you know that Mean Girls meme where it's like, Mom, can you come get me? Like, I'm scared. But like, I went to TikTok and there's just so much. And I was like, I'm scared. But like, okay, there's a lot going on. So I do have a TikTok, but don't go there for information. Also, you can sign up on my website, just hazelwilkes.com, to be a part of my newsletter. So whenever announcements happen, if there is any bonus materials, discounts, any fun stuff that may or may not be coming, you will get emails first and foremost before the general public sees it on Instagram through the email subscription signups. So those are probably the two best: email sign up and Instagram. I'm so long-winded. I could have just said that.
That's perfect. I love it. And, if people want to follow you, it's great for them to experience like the way you are. Like, I think that's
she's going to talk a lot.
Everybody likes that. We need people talking. What was, or have you had any experiences with fans that you want to tell us about?
I think so far one of my favorites is I had someone reach out to me and she just essentially said, she's located in the Middle East right now. And she said, hey, as I'm sure you know, there's a lot going on over here, but I wanted you to know that I read your book and the way you wrote about loss and grief and just your writing style in general. She said it was so beautiful and it meant so much to me at this current time that it was such a needed distraction in all of the chaos. And she's like, and she just said, and you write so beautifully. I just wanted you to know that and that your book and your words meant a lot to me. And I was like,
that's beautiful.
Thank you.
That's
I was
awesome.
like, no, it meant so much. Cause I think any author can relate. Yeah, we write stories and there's fun elements, whatever. But at the end of the day, our greatest hope is that our words can have any form of positive impact, can make any bit of difference in whatever capacity for the greater good. And so to have someone as that being your goal, to be like, hey, you did that. That's the ultimate best feeling.
Yeah, your author from Finding Alaska definitely did it to you. So that's very cool.
He did. He really did. John Green, if you're listening, I love you.
So last but not least, let's have a look at that book so people know what to look for and where to find it.
Okay. She is beauty. She is grace. This is Miss United States. No, I'm just kidding. This is the book, A Requiem for Fallen Stars. Right now, you can find it. It is available online through any major book retailer. It's available on Amazon. I also have a direct link that you can go where you buy it from me directly. Really, it's just Ingram Spark, but it's through me. But that is all available on a Linktree link with everything listed as one on my Instagram. Past that, you can literally go into the good old Google search bar and type in A Requiem for Fallen Stars, and you know what? She's going to come up. But right now, she is not physically present in any bookstores, though we're hoping that'll soon change as we try to do business-like things. But that's hard, and we're working on it. But right now, it is all online. But she is available on Kindle Unlimited. She's available on Kindle Unlimited. It is available ebook for purchase if Kindle Unlimited is not an option, and hoping soon to have audiobook options. But that is also a neither here nor there thing yet, but businessy things that we're working on doing.
That's awesome. Hazel, it's been so much fun talking with you. I just love chatting with you, and your body language just made me smile the whole way through.
I'm so animated. I'm so sorry. I really tried to keep it like
this. This was proof that you love anime. So Once again, I just want to remind everyone where they have the opportunity to check out your book, by the sounds of things, just about everywhere. So have a look out for the audio if that's what you're looking for in the future. Thank you so much, Hazel. It was so much fun.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you for having me. This was so great.
It was such a pleasure.